Welcome to the Leadwell Podcast. I'm thrilled to be able to share this podcast with you, to connect with you, the leader, and to provide a resource to help you with your leadership, with aligning your team, with building and developing your people, and also creating a winning culture. That's what we do at Leadwell, and that's what this podcast is going to help you do. Let's jump in, get to know each other a little bit better, and talk about all that this podcast is going to bring. Welcome to the Leadwell Podcast, where we give mission-driven leaders principled and practical advice so they can do just that, lead well. I'm your host, Jon Kidwell, and it is an honor to be able to be sitting here talking with you today, walking alongside you as you lead where you are, where you serve and impact the lives of your team and the people that you work for every single day. Thank you for choosing to listen to this podcast. We're going to lay out a little bit of what you can expect in this podcast since this is the introduction. So a little bit about us at Leadwell, a little bit about myself, what you can expect from this podcast, and how you can engage. Let's start first with Leadwell. That is our leadership development training and coaching company. We work with mission-driven leaders and their organization to help train, coach their people. We know that when people grow, everything grows. And that's what we love helping leaders and organizations do. We specifically believe leaders that lead well and organizations that lead well are able to tie in the purpose with which why they do things, healthy people, and performance. And we take that focus when we approach training and coaching, and we're going to do that here on the podcast as well. So, why me? And let's get to know each other a little bit better so that we can continue the conversation and build a great connection. And hopefully I can help you as you continue to lead where you are. My name is Jon Kidwell. I'm the founder, CEO. I'm a trainer and a coach at Leadwell. I love being able to work with a team to go out to organizations, to be in front of leaders like you, to be sitting on Zoom or in front of you coaching and helping you lead at your best. I started my career as a teacher. I've worked in nonprofits, left the nonprofit sector as an executive, as a VP of Innovation and Operations, have served on boards, and am in the process of building and leading this company. So wherever we look, whether it's volunteer or paid, I have always tried to find a way to lead and to serve wherever I am. I love being able to bring kind of that diversity of experience to the people that we work with. And I'm going to aim to do that here on the podcast as well. So beyond the career, what's some things that are fun to know? Well, I live in Houston, Texas. I get to call that home and have for some time. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Megan, and I have 3 amazing children. You'll hear those folks referenced, no doubt, throughout the podcast. So I want to make sure I introduce them and you get to know a little bit about me and my family. Beyond that, I get the privilege of being an adjunct professor and helping teach folks organizational leadership at the master's level. I also get to go out and volunteer in my church and in my community, and I look forward to doing those things. So enough about me. Let's dive into why that matters for the podcast and what you can expect for the podcast. So like I said, beyond just that experience and all of the opportunities that I've had to learn through leading and growing through a bunch of different challenges and in a bunch of different places, the training that we have, the certifications that we bring, and the content that we have created, we are going to bring to this podcast. Every week, you can expect a topic on leadership, on aligning your team, on developing your people, on building a winning culture. We're going to bring in a topic every week to share with you some tips, some principles, some practices, some how-tos so that you can turn around and implement change where you lead. The other thing, and honestly, the most exciting thing for me, I cannot wait for this part, is we're going to take questions from you, the leader, take questions from the listener. All throughout my career, as I was growing, I have found that wisdom comes from being able to talk with a bunch of other people about what's going on. They help me think through things. They help me build a plan. And we want to do that here on the podcast. I have no doubt that you are sitting there thinking about rolling out a strategy, about engaging in a tough conversation with a team member. If you are like anybody else in the culture right now, there's a lot around hiring and retaining team members, delegating, growing. How do I have X conversation, whatever that is? We want to help. So please send in your questions and we will bring them to the podcast and answer them. Here's how you submit a question. Email me at podcast@leadwell.com or send it via text, 832-895-1253. And if you want to go old school, I love old school. I love talking to people. You can leave me a voicemail, get to hear your voice. You can also call 832-895-1253. Leave a voicemail with your question. Whatever you put it in, email, text, or voicemail, we will grab it and we will bring it here to the podcast and bring an answer and coach through just a little bit on what we might do if we were in the same situation as you. Want to introduce another individual that you're going to hear come on the podcast every now and then. And that is my team member and the producer of this podcast. His name is Matthew. And so while we get those questions in, he's going to help shuffle through, rifle through, bring those ones up. While we get questions from you, he's also going to bring questions that we get routinely in training, in coaching, when we're at live events with teams. We get a lot of the same questions often, and so he's going to help curate some of those and bring them. So when you hear me reference Matthew or producer Matthew, you know who I'm talking to. He is the one behind the scenes helping to make this podcast, and frankly, a whole lot more with the Leadwell team happen every single day. So how do you stay engaged? How can you come back? Well, first, if you are listening to this in August of 2023, episode 0, you're right in on the ground floor. We are actually going to release our first episode tomorrow. So come on back. If you are listening to this later on, but you're like, I got to figure out what's going on with this podcast and I need to see if this is something that is going to work for me. Here's what you do. Whether you're brand new to it, August 2023, or you are catching this sometime later, we want you to subscribe so that this comes to you every single week when we release a new episode. We're going to release episodes every Tuesday, and if you are subscribed, it'll automatically show up wherever you are listening to this podcast. Also, would love it if you would help spread the word. We need help getting this out to other mission-driven leaders who are looking for resources, trying to grow because they know that when they grow, everything around them grows. Their people, the performance, the impact of the organization. Help us share it with those people. So subscribe, share, and then we would love it if you leave us a review. We need feedback to know how this is engaging. Now, I get it. This is an introduction episode. You're not going to do it yet. But once you listen to episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode XYZ, whenever we're there in the future, please leave us a review so that we know how we're doing. And again, if you are getting this in August 2023, tomorrow, episode 1, outside of talking about the first thing that you need as a leader, we are also going to introduce a giveaway because as you launch a podcast, we got to do some giveaways, some fun things for you, and it does involve money, a chance to win some money. So come back tomorrow to learn how to win a chance to earn some money by helping us launch this podcast. Again, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here. There are so many podcasts out there that you could choose from, and you are listening to us here. Would love to stay connected with you. Would also love to know who's listening. So find me, Jon Kidwell. Most of the handles are at Jon Kidwell or at the Leadwell page on social media. Connect with us. Let us know you're out there. We'd love to hear your questions, and we look forward to talking with you very soon. In the meantime, my friends, be well, lead on, and God bless.